Okay, so actually, let's go ahead and start this vlog then. Hi guys, I'm Gary Pope from Late to the Table, and I'll apologize up front for basically, I guess you could say, having a lack of content on this channel. But there's actually a bunch of reasons why, and there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, and I'll go over those in this vlog. The vlog title, as you can see, said Dice Tower Con, Gencon, and also future updates. So I'm going to do a little bit differently in this video. Is I'm actually going to put a tiny bit more editing work in here. So right here, they'll probably have times of when I'm going into stuff. First, we're going to talk about some future updates and why there's been a lack of content. Then we'll talk about the Dice Tower Con, and then we'll go ahead and talk about Gen Con in the future after that. So yeah, go ahead and check out that. Also, I probably will have in the description down below just clickable links just so you can go directly to those parts of the episode. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about why there's been a lack of content on this channel so far. Now, a bunch of reasons. First reason is that I'm actually learning a bunch of new stuff right now. I really want to improve the quality of this channel, and I feel like the earlier you start improving the quality of your channel, then the more efficient you could become down the road, instead of getting comfortable doing that for a year or two at a time and then learning. I think I've gotten down everything that I can learn that I can actually apply in Sony Vegas. That's actually currently what I use as my editing tool. And I think I really need to make the jump to Adobe Premiere. And the reason why is because I want to get into animation. Now, I'm probably going to have maybe a blurb here. It might not be there if it's not ready. But I'm actually working on reviews right now, and that's another reason why there's been a delay. And in those reviews, I really want to step up the production by working on animation with like lower thirds, if you guys are into film or anything like that. Lower thirds are basically like captions. Like, for example, I have my default caption where I'm going to put it down below, where it appears and then it disappears over time. And that's kind of like my basic template for now. And at the moment, it does its job, but in my opinion, it doesn't look slick or cool or anything like that. It just gets the job done. And what I kind of want to do is I want to kind of maybe do something along the lines of this. I'll probably try to put something down there, and if you can see that, then that looks way better than this thing right here. I'm going to give myself so much work in post-production. But anyways, that's kind of what I want to do, is learn how to do animation. And Adobe Premiere is basically like the default, the standard of things. So if you're looking for a plugin or something like that, or something to improve your application, it's most likely going to be for Adobe Premiere, and using Sony Vegas is really lacking in those kind of things. So that's one thing I've been doing recently, is I've been teaching myself Adobe Premiere and Adobe After Effects at the same time. And I think I'm actually also at the same time going to learn how to use Adobe Photoshop as well. Even though I've kind of used it in the past, it's super rusty at this point. But anyway, so that's that. That's why one thing that's taken me a long time to make videos is I'm not trying to make them in Adobe Premiere yet. I'm still making them in Sony Vegas, but I'm still learning all of the application. That's just delaying a lot of things because my time is being focused on learning those things now. Now, the other thing is that I've actually been working on reviews when I was at Dice Tower Con, and also I've been hosting events at my house where we'll be doing reviews of games. And now I'm not going to be saying this is going to turn into a review channel, not even close, because the time it takes to do these reviews is a very long time. It's not your typical reviews. You might see, I might put some examples of some footage that I'm capturing up here in the top left corner, but basically what I'm doing with these reviews, I probably mentioned this in the past, is that I'm doing group reviews. Hopefully I shouldn't have to talk or say my opinion about the games at all. I'm getting group's consensus of a game. I'm getting their individual interviews and everything. And these take a long time. When I had one at my place, we were able to review, I think, 3 games, and the entire night took, I think, 4 to 5 hours of recording. We played games for maybe 3 hours or so, and then the recording process alone took a solid hour or 2. And this was, I think, only 4 people I was recording at the time. So it's like, then get to the point where I, in the future, want to be doing reviews where I have 9 to 10 people's inputs, and it can get kind of ridiculous. But That's what I've been doing right now is I've been working on these reviews and trying to edit them down so I could get the videos out. Hopefully I should have my very first one out in actually a couple of days. I don't need to have it done before Gen Con, but it would be great if I had it done before Gen Con, because the game is not only going to be showcased at Gen Con, but it's also going to be the Kickstarter for it's going to be up at Gen Con. And this is Wits and Wagers Vegas. Bruce from North Star Games gave me the opportunity to do actually a review of it while we were at Dice Tower Con. That was great, and thanks for him. Other updates for new stuff. I'm also working on future projects. One of them I actually cannot say anything about, and it's not because I'm like under some sort of contract. It's just I can't. The whole purpose of it is I can't say anything about it. And that's literally not even going to be released until next year. But I've been working on that, and that's going to be a really fun one. The other future project is I haven't decided what to call it yet. It's either going to be called Board Busters, in making fun of well, what's that name of that show? Mythbusters, or it's going to be called Breaking Boards, making fun of Breaking Bad. And I think I've talked about this before. I'm not sure, but just in case if I haven't, it's I'm basically making a show where I'm going to be going through a whole bunch of tips and tricks on ways to prevent games from getting destroyed, or I'm also going to be going through myths on how to fix games. I found a bunch of really good forums and a bunch of really good posts about how to prevent games from getting damaged. I've heard of myths, I've heard of tricks and stuff like that. I've talked about this in the past. Actually, I think I definitely did talk about this in the last vlog. And I've actually been working on that. Actually, I probably have some footage up here to actually show of that. So as you guys can probably tell right now, I've been getting a lot of footage of things. It's just that the editing process is what takes a lot of time out of these videos. I'm actually going as far as saying that when I'm doing the whole myth thing, the Board Busters thing, that might not get released until I have everything done for all of the episodes. I kind of want to make that a season thing where it's like I have season 1 of Board Busters, and then I have everything already done for like the first season. It'll be like 8 episodes or something like that. I really would love to do that. That's a kind of the style I want to go with that. And not only that, if I do something along the lines of that, then I'll really be able to up the production on it, because if I'm trying to get them done and get them out on a weekly basis or a bi-weekly basis, the production isn't going to be as good. And so camera cut off because it ran out of batteries. But where was I at? I was talking about Board Busters, but I want to do that in a season concept because I want to make those come out really well. So those might not even come out for like another few more months, to be honest, maybe even a couple more months, because I still need to gather all the footage, and I want to make them as interesting as possible. Like, I don't want to, I guess the best way to put it is I want to show that there's some like really crazy things you could do out there that are really interesting. So anyways, there's that. So those are all the future updates, things literally from next year down the road. And I'm currently learning things, so which is why it's putting a delay on getting videos out. But hopefully things will actually pick up pace, and it'll get back to my regular schedule of trying to put out 1 to 2 videos every week. But in the process, I guess I get just asked to, bear with me while I am working on learning Adobe Premiere and Adobe Effects. And it'll make up for it in the long run, because already from me messing around with it here and there for a few hours and just learning the concepts of it and just messing around, the million times better than what I could do in Sony Vegas. And not only that, it takes like not even half time. It takes so much less time. But yeah, Gen Con's next week. I'm actually going to be flying down to Gen Con on Wednesday. This is technically going to be my second big con, and it's going to be the biggest convention. I'm actually, a couple things about it. First off, I'm going to be working at the Dice Tower booth. I'm going to be helping those guys out. I don't have specific hours I'm going to be there, but to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if I was there a decent amount, because I'm not saying that there's nothing that really, this is, I guess, the next topic. There's nothing which I'm clamoring for. And I've told myself this, I've told friends this, and it rings true. If I go to Gen Con and if I don't come back with any games, I'm perfectly fine, because there's nothing which like I'm clamoring for that I want to play like this second. I have no problems if I don't play the games for like 2 weeks to a month to even 2 months down the road. There's nothing that excites me that much. Every game that I was excited about is not being released at Gen Con. I was really excited for Pandemic Season 2, Pandemic Legacy Season 2. I was really excited for One Night Ultimate Ultimate Werewolf Legacy. That's not being released at Gen Con. I was really excited for News at 11. That's not being released at Gen Con. I bet you if I went down the list of games that are going to be at Gen Con, but are demos now instead of actually being sold, it's just there's so many games which I was really excited about, but they're just not coming out at Gen Con, and they originally were a while ago. Even Alien Artifacts is a demo. I thought that was going to be on sale there until literally just now when I'm looking. But yeah, so I mean, I guess that's kind of my disappointment, but I'll say this, at the same time, I'm actually not disappointed at all. I'm actually almost kind of glad because this is going to be my first Gen Con. I want to experience it. I want to get used to it. I don't want to do the whole jingle all the way mad dash to games necessarily. Because I want to experience things. I want to see how things are. I want to see the layout. And then next year, I'll be perfectly fine with doing the whole mad dash for games, especially when I know how the layout is and where things are, and I could take advantage of that. But this year, I'm actually perfectly fine with not having any to die for games I really would want. Shout out to die for games there with that one, I guess. But I guess I'll put in the description below like the games I have that I'm interested in this convention. But yeah, that's my issue with this convention, is that there's nothing in which I'm really dying for. But I am really excited to be going to a few events. I think I'm only like really planning on going to a couple of them, and if I can make it to other ones, then great. But I plan on going to the Tuesday Night Games live podcast, which I believe is Saturday afternoon or something like that, late afternoon, if I'm not mistaken. Also, I'm planning on going to the Secret Cabal meetup. That's Saturday night, if I'm not mistaken. And I can't wait to go to that. That's actually, out of everything I'm doing at the convention, hanging out with the Dice Tower guys and checking out the games, stuff like that, that is actually probably the thing I'm excited about the most at the convention. It just seems like a great opportunity to meet a whole bunch of people. I love craft beers, so it's like you get to go down there and just check out all the craft beers down there. I want to check out Secret Cabal's full froth beer too as well. It's going to be real interesting. And it's funny because people go there for like the free games auctions and stuff like that, and then apparently I've heard from their past that the second that those free games are gone, people just scatter and they leave because they came for the free games. I'm actually more interested in just everything else besides that. Not saying I wouldn't want a free game or whatever, but it's just like I'm really interested in everything else except besides that. Like, that's actually bonus points. It's like, oh great, I get to run into possibly the Secret Ball guys. I could probably run into other people. I can meet other people at the convention. It kind of sucks that it's on Saturday and you're meeting all these people, then Sunday comes. But you do what you gotta do. What's it called? It'll be really cool to meet all these people and check out the place and check out the beer there and stuff like that. Bonus points for the free games. But yeah, so I can't wait for that. I may be attending the Rolling Dice and Taking Names. I believe their meetup is on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. They're doing like a strike tournament, which I just learned how to play strike at the Dice Tower convention. Probably wouldn't be participating in the tournament, but I would just like to check out the meetup. Also, last thing before I end this extremely long vlog, which probably people are not going to watch the entire thing. If you're a designer or publisher that watches my shows or anything like that, I just want to make a note to you guys. At the same time, I'm going to be writing a post up on BoardGameGeek about this. And if you're ever interested, because I'm actually going to be starting doing reviews and stuff like that, I also live in an area with Jason Perez from Every Night is Game Night, and also Brian and Brant from the Portal Game Podcast. And one thing we do is that we already talked to reviewers, we already talked to designers and publishers about review games and stuff like that. We also, through our own collections ourselves, circulate a lot of games between all of us and a bunch of other friends as well, like probably anyone does. But I want to reach out to you guys because I'm going to be at Gen Con, of course, and if you guys happen to have any games that you feel like would be fitting for us, That would be great if we could get review copies of games. This sounds like I'm begging, but I guess the best way to put it is just like, I like to just put out the opportunity out there. Me personally, I'm doing review games where I'd rather prefer large group games. I wouldn't say necessarily say party games, but like the larger amount of people, the better, because it makes it easier to actually do the review style that I'm doing. Brand and Brian play just about anything, but they are kind of like on a heavy phase at this moment. And every night is game night. Jason, he plays just about any game as well, but he's kind of a little bit more focused on solo games too at the moment, it seems. But and not only that, I would also put this out as well. We're also big contributors to our local Extra Life community. Extra Life is a charity that we raise money for our local children's hospitals. And I'm one of the, I'll put a link in the description about down below, and you guys probably check out a little clip of it right up here probably. But I made a recruitment video for our local chapter, and what we do is we raise money for our local children's hospital. And already this year, we've already raised well over $40,000, and we're actually on pace to absolutely smash our previous records of recruiting, I think, 100 people in a year. And then not only that, I think raising up, I think it's $60,000. $60,000 a year. I think that's our record so far. $70,000. I had to double check that, but we're on track to smash that. Yeah. In other words, whenever we have games and stuff like that, we always tend to donate them towards Extra Life cause. Last year, for example, I donated my copy of like Beast of Balance, Cry Havoc, Mask of Moai. What other games? I can't remember any other games I donated, but I donated a ton of games to this charity. But I guess the best way to put it is that these games wouldn't be going to just reviewers. These games would also be going towards charitable events and stuff like that. So it's not like we're looking for more people to get interested in our events, because at the end of the day, it really helps the kids. And it sounds like I'm kind of just like sending out like a blurb or something like that, but I'm trying to make this quick because this vlog's been long already. But it really goes a long way. We have a champion currently for the past year and a half, 2 years, called Emma. And she's been a great girl. She's the goofiest girl. You probably maybe seen this clip of her hanging out with Nick Cannon doing like a backflip, whatever, a back crawl. But there's kids like that that are in every state, everywhere across the country, where they're sick and they really need people to help out with them and everything. Emma, she's our champion, and she's been going through a lot. She's actually been diagnosed with a form of cancer, and she's had a rough upcoming, but she's actually undergoing all the stages of being recovered and of recovery. And because of Extra Life, kids like her get a second chance. It's just, I don't know. It's something that really gets me inspired to do the charity. I've been working with them for the past 2 years now, and it's I don't want to go into too much sappy stuff, but yeah, that's kind of what we do. Us three guys, we review games, and usually anything extra we have usually always goes to the Extra Life charity. So if we have any designers, publishers that watch my shows, watch any of their guys' shows, we'd be glad to check out your games, review them, and I mean, odds are probably donate them as well. Not saying we don't like them, but it's just usually what happens. I have enough games here. But anyways, that's basically everything that I told myself I'd cover. I made this segment way longer than I was expecting to make it. I was thinking this was going to be 30 minutes, but I think this is just end up being over an hour. If anyone watches this, then fine. But anyways, this is Gary Pope from Late to the Table. Hopefully I'll see you guys at Gencon, and hopefully I'll be having more content come out soon. So look out for that, and hopefully you'll see a notice in improvement in quality and just everything in general, I guess you could say. That's to come. So thanks for watching, guys, and have a good one. Peace.
Thanks for watching Late to the Table. This episode is brought to you by my go-to place for upgrades and accessories for your favorite tabletop games, Top Shelf Gamer.